Today, I want to talk to you about a pipeline called feedback. I think feedback is one of the most powerful and beautiful things that you can have in your business. Whether it's from your internal team members or whether it's from your consumers or customers, having that feedback system in place can be an incredible way to level up your business. I think feedback can often be misunderstood or sometimes can go a little bit too far. And so today I want to talk a little bit about a pipeline called feedback and how that can be integrated into your business. Over the years, I've invested in many different companies and crypto projects. Some of them have been successful and some of them have not. The truth is that, success is never guaranteed. But one of the things that I've noticed over the years is that the companies and crypto projects that are truly successful are extremely effective at listening to and responding to the feedback from their consumers and their customers. But it's not like everything that a consumer says and everything that a customer says is taken as gospel truth and they go ahead and do it. Instead, it's like an intelligent way of listening to feedback from customers and then really thinking through what that customer needs and delivering on that. I know there's a famous quote out there from an entrepreneur who sometimes talks about how customers don't even know what they need until you deliver that to them. And that is true, but that particular entrepreneur actually spent a lot of time understanding people and really listening to them and hearing what they needed. You could say that he was able to take the feedback that he was provided and really think it through and come up with a more beautiful and more amazing way of delivering them an experience that matters. That entrepreneur and the company that he co-founded is now the most valuable company in the world, or it was for a period of time at the time of this video. So how can we go about doing this and how can we integrate it into our business? True feedback creates understanding. It creates an understanding of what's working in your business and what's not working. Whether it be for team members who are sharing with you things that are excellent about what they're doing and maybe things that aren't, or maybe it's about customers who are like, this problem just isn't getting solved. Jeff Bezos once, who talked about understanding how a customer, when they engage with the Amazon support line, how long they were waiting for. And ultimately, they had to go through a process of understanding where the problems were and how to fix them. The point was in that interview was that they were listening to the feedback from customers and really diving into it and then thinking about how to solve it. The second thing about effective feedback is that it builds purpose. Ultimately, purpose doesn't exist in a vacuum. It doesn't matter how awesome your product is or how amazing your service is, if you're not able to connect it to pipelines that bring it into reality, it doesn't really influence or impact anyone. And listening to feedback allows you to build that purpose. Maybe you're in a technical team and there's a whole bunch of errors that are happening in your platform that you need to go and fix. It's a feedback from your IT infrastructure that's saying this isn't working. I know for TradeOxy, when we launched on the 1st of January 2024 into beta, we had a bunch of random errors that started to occur in our platform that hadn't existed before. We weren't too worried about them. We just figured maybe it was a problem with how we released it. So we rebuilt a couple of things and went and re-released it. But the errors kept coming back. Once we investigated, we actually realized a critical deficiency in our testing, which is ironic when we thought about it. Effectively, what had happened was we'd overloaded one of the serverless functions that we built, and it was running too frequently for the size of the container in which it was built. What had happened was when we did our testing before launch, we hadn't tested it at the scale that we wanted to grow at. We'd certainly done a little bit of the load testing, but we hadn't really done it at the scale that we needed to operate as. Therefore, everything passed and it was green before launch, only to realize that after launch, we started to experience problems. That was a piece of feedback from our IT infrastructure that was extremely effective in helping us to solve some of the things that we needed to do to advance our platform. Similarly, we've created a culture and an environment within our team where people are free to offer advice or insights or problems that they're facing. With the idea being that as uncomfortable as it might be, having that authentic and effective feedback will help us to become a better company, which in turn will help us to serve our customers more effectively. The third thing is that feedback allows you to confirm outcomes. For instance, if you have certain goals that you need to achieve for your company, you need to have a feedback system that allows you to figure out if you've achieved them or not. It's no good saying we want to have 100 signups per day if you've got no way to measure signups. And in the next episode where I talk about a pipeline called metrics, I'll talk a little bit about how we go about doing that. So the thing is about feedback, as powerful as it is and as much value as it creates for your company, there's a few challenges about feedback that I wanted to talk about a little bit today in this episode. The thing about feedback is it requires courage. I think a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people in general love the idea of feedback and love how it's going to improve them and make life better and we're all going to be happy. But the truth is, receiving feedback can be really uncomfortable. it can really be painful, particularly if the feedback's not delivered in like, a perfectly well thought out, non-confrontational way. Sometimes the feedback that you receive is not valuable. Sometimes you'll find a person or a customer that's got their own agenda in play, and they're delivering feedback to you that you need to, maybe not take all of it on board and just extract the important parts. That again takes courage. The second thing about feedback is that it really takes consistency. If you're a leader or a manager who is like very overriding in how you approach things and you tend to shut people down, you can't just do a 180 for one day and be like, yes, I care about feedback, and then expect people to respond to it. Instead, you need to create a way of consistently and constantly getting that feedback from people. For instance, in the meetings that I run at my company, I always take time to ask every single person in there, how are they feeling about things and what do they think's working and not working? Every person who has a meeting with me knows that at some point in time that question's going to get asked. And that allows them to do a couple of things. First of all, they can be prepared for that question. And secondly, over time, as they've shared those concerns with me and I've been able to go ahead and address them, it's allowed us to build a culture of trust that allows us to continue to deliver that feedback to each other. So not only do you need to have courage, you need to also do it consistently. The third thing is it requires determination. Truth be told, and for many technical people this might not be the case, but truth be told, when you're building something and you're in the moment and it's super exciting, all you can see is how it's going to work. And that's really important. That's really, really beautiful, and it needs to remain. You need to measure what matters. You need to get that feedback from that system. Maybe you're a customer service representative, and that means that you have to go through the uncomfortable process of getting feedback from people that you're talking to. Maybe you need to develop a way to process that feedback so that you're not crushed by, maybe a lot of negative feedback all at once. But you're able to extract the positives and move forward. But whatever it is, those three things are really, really important when it comes to collecting feedback. Courage, determination, and consistency. I hope this helps. See you soon.